Hi everyone, today I want to discuss with you how to properly water African violets and how to avoid overwatering. In front of me I have lots of African violets. These are my plants and I watered them at the same time, but most of them are overdried and most of them are still moist. And we will discuss today how properly water moist African violet pots and overdried African violet pots. All of us, we know, most of us, not all of us, most of us, we know already that watering African violets, it differs from other plants. We cannot water our violets from the top. For example, I will show you this pot. Let me show you first the soil, how it look like when it's moist and when it's all dried. Here I have pot, and this pot it's still moist and the soil looks darker in the bottom. So you see it's moist, it's not all dried, and the top soil is little bit dry. Even it's falling when I turn this pot. And here I have another pot which is very dry. I watered these violets at the same time, but this pot, you see, it's super dry. There is no sign of water and the soil looks light. It's not dark, the color of the soil. You see, there is no sign of water. And this violet means it's overdried violet. And let me show you proper way of watering African violets first, and then we will discuss these overdried pots. Most of us, we know that proper way of watering African violets is watering from the bottom, or we can put water on top of the pot. Here from the sides we can water. I'm not watering, but I'm showing now. And we don't touch the main stem. We don't touch this stem. We water from the sides of the pot. If we wanna water from the top, we water this way. We don't do this mistake. We don't put our water from the top of the violet, which is the main part, because African violets, they grow from the center. If we put water here in the center, we will decay and African violet will die easily. We will decay them. And if you do this, if you by mistake put water when you were watering your violet, you put water in the center, you have to wipe it with paper towel and you have to leave under the fan, and this way you can dry the stem faster. Otherwise, if you leave the violet with the water in the center, it will die, it will decay very fast, and next day you will say goodbye to your violet. And this is very dangerous for this plant, to be watered from the top. And most of us, we know this rule. And what we do, before I used to water my African violets one time from the top and the other time from the bottom. I used to put water here like so and water my African violet. This is 4-inch pot. For 4-inch pot I put 1 ounce of water every time when I water, not much. This is enough. By the time we all learn how much water we have to put on our African violet, and this amount of water is enough for this pot, and we don't need to when this violet will take water, if you put much, you have to drain that water. You have to take this water and spill it. But if you put 1 ounce for 4-inch pot, every time this water is enough, and you don't need to worry to check after watering your plant. You don't need to check. You don't need to come and check and take this plate and spill it and drain this dish. And there is other way to water African violet, which I used to do before, watering it from the top. Let me show you how. If you want to water your African violet from the top, you have to water from the sides. You don't need to touch the leaves and the main stem. You just put water from the sides like so, and close to the wall of the violet pot you put water like so, and that's it. This water is enough for this 4-inch pot. And now I want to tell what time is good to water your violet. Nobody can tell you how many times a week you have to water your African violet, because it depends from the environment. If you live in the dry environment, you have to water your violet often. And if you live in a humid environment like I do, you have to water your violet not often. In summer, I water my African violets once a week because AC works in the house, and these pots, they don't get dry very fast. They don't drink their water, and I water them once a week. Now it's winter, and I see that my violets, they drink much water because the heater is working in the house and it's very hot in the house, and that is less humid. I don't use any humidifier, and these violets, they grow under the daylight. I didn't put any growing light on them. They grow in this room, in the living room, and they get very they get dry very fast. And these pots, 2 pots in this 4-inch pots, I have violets. This is smaller size and this is bigger size, and I water them at the same time. And this bigger African violet, it drank its water fast, and this pot is over dried. And this one, it's dry also, but not too dry like this pot. And as you see from the from how they look, we can think that this pot is heavier than this one. We have to find out what time we have to water. I lift them and I feel if it needs to be watered or not. This is heavier and this pot is light. And if I put on the scale, I never do that, but to show you, I am doing that. Look how much is this. And I will put this pot and you will see how much is this pot. This bigger violet is supposed to be heavier. If we look to the appearance, how they big, this one is bigger than this one, but this one is light. I water them at the same time. Every time when I water my African violets, even though the soil is moist, I put little bit water. Even the pots which are still moist, I water them. But these pots, see how fast they drank, and they differ. And I have to know how much water I have to put in this pot and how much water I have to put in this pot. Now we can think this, that we need to put less water in this pot and more water in this pot. But this is mistake, what we usually do often, all the time. This pot is still moist and we think that we can put less water because it doesn't want much. It's not over dried. You see, this is little bit moist. There is some moisture in this pot. The soil is dark. I will show you this pot and you will see the difference. When I put them together like this, you will see the difference. Do you see? This left pot, the soil is little bit darker than this one. This is over dried and this one is still moist. And what we do usually, we put too much water in this one because it's too dry. We think that it has to drink a lot, otherwise it will die from over drying, and we put normal usual water in this pot. Yes, we can put in this pot, in the left pot, we can put usual water. How much water I put usually? I put 1 ounce water. I will show you. I put 1 ounce water in this pot, and it's okay now if I put 1 ounce water, because usually I put in this pot 1 ounce water. And do I need to put around the pot like as I did before with that violet when I was putting from top? Do I need to make equally moist the topsoil? In this case, no, I don't need. I can put water from one side where it's comfortable for me, where the less leaf here, where I can see the open space. See, here we have some open space and it's comfortable to water from this space. And from other space, you see from other sides, we have leaves, too many leaves, and I open this side, which is empty a little bit, less leaves are here, and I just put my turkey buster with water, and I put 1 ounce water here from one side. Why I don't need to make equally moist this topsoil? Because there is no need. This pot is sitting in another pot, in a decorative pot, and water, it went down, you see? And this water, this pot, will take this water from this decorative pot, and the soil will get equally moist from the bottom, and I don't need to put water all around the pot. Before, I used to water my violets from the top one time and from the bottom other time. Now I stopped doing that. I will tell you the reason for that. Now it's winter and they get dry very fast, and most of time I started over drying my violets, even though I don't want that. But every 2 days I have to put water, I have to water them, and if I water from the top, if the soil is over dried, I will kill this violet, because most of the leaves are roots are down, they grow down, and if you put water from the bottom of the pot, this water goes up slowly, and it will make the soil equally moist. If you put from the top, these roots which are in the bottom, they cannot drink, they don't have enough water, and you can kill that way your wild stem, because roots are not taking water and the topsoil is wet. And to avoid that, I started watering my violets from the bottom, not from the top. Now I stopped watering them from the top. Here it started growing new buds. You see, these violets, they finished blooming, and now they are growing new flower spikes. And this pot, usually when we buy new African violets from the stores, we find them over dried or over watered. And what we do when we bring home this kind of over dried African violets, we put in a dish and we make soggy this pot, and that way we kill our African violets. This pot, over dried pot, you have to be very careful not to rot the roots. You have to avoid that. And how we water this kind of pots? For example, every time when I water, I put 1 ounce water, and now this pot is all dried. If I fill this pot with water and I put this pot in that water, it will take the water how much it wants, and that way we think that we will help this violet faster from over drying. No, we will not help. We will kill this violet if we do this way. What we have to do in this case? We have to take water less than usual. For example, I water this violet with 1 ounce water, but now I have to take half an ounce. Half ounce of water, and I put it here. Do you see how much water I am putting in the pot? There is few little water, and I put my violet pot here, and it sits and it takes the moisture, and that way I will make this pot every day. I will put this much water, and until it gets equally moist, all the sides of the soil, they get it equally moist, I will continue watering this way. That way we teach these roots, or dried roots, to drink water, and slowly they will get adjust to drink water, to be in the moist soil. I will show you how much it gets moist when we put this much water. You see the bottom? This water made the bottom of this soil little bit moist. I think I cannot show that here. And after some time, after 2-3 hours, I can put some water, or I can put next day. You see, the water went from one side. Even this this part is darker, the soil is darker here, and here is light, and we have little bit water in this soil. And if when this pot sits in this with this water, with this much water, after some time the water goes equally around the pot, and the whole soil, it will get moist enough, but we cannot see that. But inside the soil, the moisture will go around, and that way we have to teach these roots to drink water when it's over dried. Otherwise, if we do vice versa, if we put much water than usual, not 1 ounce of water, we put 2 ounces or more, or we soak this violet in the water until the soil gets wet and moist from every side, or sometimes we can put from top until the water comes from the down. We will kill this violet, and to avoid this we have to follow this rule. We don't want to kill our violet, we want to grow it, and we have to give them time when they need. We have to help them. Okay, with these pots I will do the same thing. I will lift them and check if they need to be watered, and this pot is lighter than this one. This is more lighter than this one. And how I know how much water I have to put? From the weight. When I lift them, I feel the weight. For you, I put even on the scale. But here, this pot is very dry. I feel that, and I put less than usual. If usually I put 2 ounces, I will put 1 ounce of water. If usually I put 1 ounce of water, I put half an ounce. And it depends how big pot you use. And how light they are. And if our violet babies are dry, I showed you how to propagate African violets, and there I told you when to water. When the topsoil, perlite and vermiculite mixture starts moving from side to side, it's time to water. And here this violet is drinking so much water, and I have to water it often. And it's not over dried, but topsoil is dry. How I know that? when I lift it, I feel that it's not all dried. And here even I can put my finger in the pot and I can feel the bottom, the soil. It has a little bit moisture, even though the topsoil is so dry. And how I water this violet baby, I take water and I don't touch the leaves. I don't go to the center of the pot, and I don't need to water each violet baby. Here I have 3 babies. I showed you these violet babies before in my previous videos. If you remember, if you are watching, if you are following my videos, you remember this violet. Here I planted 3 leaves, and this was tiny leaf. It had, when I showed you, it had only 1 leaf, and now you see it has 4, and these are big enough now. And I water this violet baby pot from the sides like this equally. I make moist because this is violet baby, and I put water from every side like this, and this much water is enough, and I leave it in its home. And this will protect these violet babies from the heat, from the cold, from everything until they grow bigger size. And what I do, I will equally I will put the same amount water, less than normal, half an ounce of water in each pot which are over dried, like so, and I leave it. And tomorrow or the day after tomorrow I will put some water, and that way I will make the soil equally moist, and these roots will not die. Instead, they will come to life. They will come to the normal life. When the roots are so dry, they cannot take much water. That's why we have to be careful. And if we overwater our African violet, next day we will see the signs. From the leaves we can find out that we overwatered our African violet. The leaves, the lower leaves, will look like this leaf. They will look, all the lower leaves, or some of them, they will look down and wilting like this. I don't have any other example besides this violet. And I found this violet among my violets. I wanted to show you, and when I was bringing this violet, I dropped it accidentally, and it fall in the bucket of water, and that's why these leaves are wet now, you see. And I will show you something with this violet. I have good news. And this violet, before I overwatered it and I saved it, I showed you, I made a video about that, and I will leave the link, you will find in the description below. And when you overwater your violet, you will see from this kind of leaves, it's the first sign of overwatering. If you didn't have this kind of leaf before watering, and you will find this kind of leaf after watering, it means that you overwatered your violet. And that situation, what we have to do. If we find our violet overwatering on time, we can help. The first help is you take paper towel. I will show you the example with this violet. I will take it out and show you how to do it. This violet is sitting in the wick watering, and I hope that the soil is wet enough to show you I'm doing this, but usually I never do this. And see, this soil is wet, it's soggy, and if I find out that my lower leaves are dying after watering next day, I immediately have to take paper towel and wrap my soil in the paper towel like this, and this paper towel will take all extra moisture, extra water from this soil. And you will see now, I will show you. This way we can take excess of water from the soil if we find out on time. This is the first help for our violet, and this I will show you something. See, it took already not even a minute. It took already the excess of water from this soil. But this violet is sitting in wick watering, and I want to return it back. And put it in the cup like this. And if you are late, if you didn't notice the overwatering on time, and you noticed when the stem started rotting and roots are already are rotten, what you can do, I showed you in my previous videos. I showed you we planted this violet together, and I put these kebab sticks to hold this violet. See, now it's not moving because the roots are strong enough, and I can take this. I can take these sticks. It doesn't need any more, these sticks. And see, this violet can stay by its own without any support. I showed you how to save violets after overwatering. You can use these methods, and some of violets we put in the cups with water, and they have roots. If you see these roots, yeah, and this foam, it's going down with the water level. And now I have to add some water in this cup. I don't need to wash this cup and change water. I just add water, some water, and this, you will see how this foam goes up, and my violets, it goes up with this foam together. You see how we can add water without taking this violet like this, and we can save our violet after overwatering if we do this mistake. Do you see these roots? I will take out, and you will see it started growing its roots here. Yeah, this wild was overwatered, and it sat without moving for a long time, and I decided to cut its roots and to put in a cup of water like this. And some of them I put in a sphagnum moth, and you will see here this one I put in a sphagnum moss, and you see it rooted also. Here tiny small roots. Yes, you can see now. And I'm putting it back. You see, if they root, they look different. The leaves will look up and they look pretty, healthy. If you wanna know in details how I do this, you can go to that video and watch it and learn how we can save our violets after overwatering. And this kind of, if we put some water on the leaves accidentally, how we can clean? We can take paper towel. And take excess of water which are on the leaves, because it's not good for the leaves. They can decay, or the water can leave the sign on the leaves. That's why we don't want this. We have to wipe it and leave it under the fan, and the fan will dry the rest of the plant. And this violet I put in the soil, and I will show you. It was with roots, and it started growing new roots. It fall with a reason. It wanted to be shown to you. That's why this violet fall when I was taking it here to show you. Here I have new roots. They started growing. Here you see new roots from this stem, which I cleaned like carrot. I cleaned with knife like carrot, and these new roots grow from this part which I cleaned. And you see, I dropped it and I broke 2 of its leaves. And if you water your wild, you will see this kind of sign, dead leaf, immediately the next day. And now I have to return it. I will plant it later. And you see, when you open the leaf, when you cut, you will see it's too watery. But this is not from overwatering. It happened long time ago, and I put this leaf wanted to die. That's why it's dead. But I don't have any other violet with dead leaves. That's why I decided to show you this violet. And here I have my violet, which is blooming. At the end, I want to show you my pretty princess. Here it's second blooming of this violet baby. It was baby. I propagated it from the leaf, and you see in the second time it's blooming a lot. It has so many buds here. They will open soon. Here you see from every side it has blooms, buds, and only see how many flowers are open now. 1, 2, 3, 4, and these are not fully open yet. And you see how these 4 flowers fill this top of this violet. Can you imagine if these buds will, all of them will open, how it will look pretty? See how beautiful violet is this? I love this one. It has 3 colors. Here darker, and here is lighter purple, and in the center is white. You see? It's beautiful violet. And this one, these things I wanted to share with you. This is all my experience. I want to experiment with violets, with any kind of plants, and that way I learn myself. Even though people, they show their experiments, I want to try myself, and that way I learned how to properly water African violets. Till today I killed so many African violets, and from my mistakes I learned something, and that what I learned I wanted to share with you today. And if you are new in my channel, please subscribe my channel. We will discuss more problems with growing plants, with all kind of plants, and I hope you found my video beneficial, and I could explain something about watering after African violets and how to avoid overwatering. It means that overwatering, it's not that we all think. Yes, it is overwatering also, that overwatering when we put too much water, it is overwatering, and most of people, they know that way, but most of us, we don't know that we can overwater our over-dried African violets if we put normal water as usual. And I hope you found this video beneficial. Don't forget to put thumbs up and subscribe my channel. Happy gardening. See you next time. Bye.